Hi everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to teach you how to build the best client portfolio.
So Alex, new topic today, building a client portfolio. I think it's a big important part of a long-term recruitment career. How would the ideal client portfolio kind of look for you?
Well, it would be diverse, first of all, right? I mean, diversity is it's the word that everyone is speaking about, so I'm gonna chip in with my diversity.
Tell me about it. I just watched the most recent episode of The Acolyte on Star Wars. That's pretty
diverse, right? So what does diversity mean in a client portfolio, right? It's very simple. You wanna have a little bit of a mix in terms of different type of clients, all right? I think the first categorization of clients will be size, so you have your MNCs, multinationals, big client, SMBs, small, medium businesses, and what I would call the quick wins. In terms of numbers, would be a small client will be, I would say, 5 to 10 employees. Medium clients will be, 50 to 80, I would say. 50 to 100 maybe, and then 100 plus, it will be a big account.
So how many, if you're a recruiter, you've got a couple of years experience, how many clients would you like to have in your list, ideally?
I think I would say maybe 50 to 70. I think that would be a decent number. And you have to think about it, right? And not every client is going to be hiring all the time.
At the same time,
So you have maybe 5 big accounts that have openings throughout the year. They will give you maybe 20, 25 jobs per year, maybe 5 to 10 every quarter, something like that, right? And those clients would be nice because they give you consistency. They will give you those jobs every week, every month. You can count on them. But of course, the problem with those type of accounts will be the relationship might not be amazing, right? Or certainly will take you time to build those relationships. So those clients will have big TA teams, big brands, so they might not need a recruiter to help them fill those positions. And they will be working with a lot of different agencies, right? So the competition for talent will be fierce. The quality of the candidates they're looking for will be premium. So it might take time,
I hear a lot of people in recruitment and sales for years, but it seems to have come back a lot recently, talking about the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your revenue should come from 20% of your clients. And I actually agree with that. But what I think people maybe fail to realize is the 80% of clients where you make your money may change from year to year. That's the key. So you could have one year where one client is hot and you milk them. But you still got to maintain the relationships with the other clients so that when they get hot,
you're there.
The next year you're right there, right? And I think that's important.
I think the brand actually also matters, do you have the Google or Amazon of the situation? Because you want to have something to cater to your database, I think. That's very important, right? So if you only work with big accounts, you will only cater to a small portion of your database, because not all candidates in your database will be tier 1 candidates. You have a lot of different levels of candidates in your database. So I think that's also why it's important to think about, because if you don't have diversity in your client portfolio, you can only utilize a minimal part of your database. And that's, I think, a big point that a lot of recruiters maybe miss and they don't think about it.
I think one of the other things is it's nice to group competitors together. Also, because I think if you have one, especially if they hire a similar type of person, because it is a good situation where you have one type of candidate and immediately I can send them to all 4 or 5 people in that market who compete against each other. So I think that's the next level, right? It's not just the size and the number, but it's also what type of people do they hire? There's nothing better, is there, than meeting a really good candidate and thinking, okay, I can pitch you 10 clients.
And
great experience with the candidate. They get access to the whole market. And really efficient as a recruiter too.
So another important point, and I think that depends on which kind of desk are you working on, right? If you're on a functional desk like supply chain, HR, accounting and finance per se, or if you're on a vertical, IT, life sciences and so on, you might want to think about, again, which kind of mix in terms of industries and job functions do you have, right? Are you gonna really specialize in one niche area? Okay, you can be horizontal and maybe, as Matt said, work with a couple of competitors in each space, right?
I think also, if you work in a company like Cornerstone or a bigger company, often there are some clients up for grabs. People leave companies, and and one thing to definitely look out for is a little sneaky tip internally if there's a client where the business as a whole has made a lot of placements, you want to piggyback on. That's the client you want, because even if in your particular area you haven't, or the previous person hasn't been successful, the relationship is right there, right? There's nothing better than being able to call a client and say, hey, we've made 20 placements with you in the last 2 years. Let's go. They're immediately going to want to see your candidates, probably interview them. You have a great chance. And you also have the colleagues internally that have the inside track on the interview process, the culture fit, all those kind of things. So it is definitely worth, if you get a chance to work on a client like that, where your business has a good track record, that should be in your portfolio for sure. So I think in summary, be strategic about how you organize your client portfolio and what kind of clients you aim to add to it. And I think as a final kind of bit of golden advice, never be satisfied. Even if you think you've got it nailed, you've got the perfect client portfolio, don't stop doing BD. You can always find a client which suddenly is in your top 3 or top 1 even sometimes, which is going to make your portfolio even better. So don't stop, never stop doing BD, and you'll do well in recruitment.
You never have enough hot clients.
It's a golden rule.
Right?
It's a golden rule.